In this week's Parashat Vayigash, Yosef finally reveals himself to his brothers. In last week's Parashat, his brothers had come down to Egypt and stood before Yosef. Before Yosef, and Yosef recognized them, but they did not recognize him. And as the story unfolds, in this parasha comes the moment where Yosef reveals himself. Vayomer Yosef elechav, geshuna elai. Yosef said to his brothers, come forward near me. Vayigashu, and they came forward. Vayomer, ani Yosef achichem. I am your brother Yosef. And immediately he says, sorry, this is the previous verse. Ani Yosef, he says, Vayomer Yosef elechav, ani Yosef. I am Yosef. Immediately, ha'od avi chai. Does my father still live? Ani Yosef. That's how he reveals himself. Ani Yosef. Immediately, ha'od avi chai. Does my father still live? And as I read these words, I was studying these words this week, and I was asking myself, how many people are asking themselves, is my loved one still alive? Imagine all the families of all the hostages. Is my loved one still alive? Imagine the families of all the soldiers who are in Gaza, who are asked to not use their telephones for days, and their loved ones, is my loved one still alive? Imagine all the Palestinians in Gaza who have been disconnected from family members, who have family members in different places. Is my loved one still alive? Imagine the anguish that people are going through in this horrible conflict that has been raging for 12 weeks or so. Is my loved one still alive? And in this parasha, the anguish comes to an end. The anguish of Yosef, the anguish of Yaakov, who finds out, he's told, your son is still alive. Huh? Can't believe it. And when he reveals himself to his brothers, the brothers can't believe it. The brothers could not answer him. So dumbfounded were they on account of him. They were just incredulous. How could this be? How could this be? How could this be that we are together? How could this be that this story will come to a good resolution, that there will be reconciliation? Because the truth is that the conflict has been schlepping from the beginning of the book of Bereshit. Cain and Abel, Yitzchak and Ishmael, Yaakov and Esav. Conflict, conflict over conflict. Sarah and Hagar, Rachel and Leah, conflict wherever you look. And here finally, in this long conflict between Yosef and his brothers, it finally comes to a resolution. And nobody can believe it. Nobody can believe that for generations and generations, people have fought with each other and have been apart, torn each other apart. And now finally, in this story, and next week's story in Parashat Vayechi, there's finally reconciliation and resolution. And so it is with this conflict that has been going on for 100 years, and the war that is raging now, more and more violent, and more hatred. And some people who believe it's either us or them. Leaders on both sides. It's either us or them. And we have to learn from here. It takes a long time, but eventually it's us and them. Because nobody's going anywhere. Nobody's moving anywhere else. And so us or them means one has to eliminate the other. Us and them is we have to find a way to handle all this conflict and all this resentment. And not like Cain and Abel, and not like Yitzchak and Ishmael, and not like Yaakov and Esav, and not the beginning of the story of Yosef and his brothers, who put him in a pit to die, but eventually God had another plan. And so we must believe that God has another plan for Israelis and Palestinians and for humanity, wherever conflict is raging. It's not the only conflict. There are other conflicts too. And so that God has another plan. And God's plan, according to the Torah, is both us and them. And we have to believe and we have to commit. We can't fall prey to the despair and to the incredulity that this cannot be resolved. It must be resolved. That's God's will. That's God's plan. It may take longer, but if we participate and if we push in the right direction, then maybe it will happen sooner rather than later. Us and them. B'mehera b'yameinu. Who said that? B'mehera b'yameinu. Soon and in our time. And let us say, Amen.